Are you planning to vote in the upcoming federal election there?
Absolutely.
All right, and what's your biggest campaign issue, your biggest topic at the top of your mind this year?
I'm pretty interested in healthcare myself because it's one thing that nobody's really mentioned. I'm a pretty able-bodied young guy, but I think it's an important issue that's not really being talked about by anybody. I think it's time for somebody to stand up and really discuss that issue.
We need to protect our environment to make sure that future generations have the same starting point as us in terms of clean air and water. And we've always been strong on that, but also in terms of childcare to make sure that families have that available. Canada as well is ranked, I think, 17th out of 19th in developed countries in the OECD for public spending on pharmacare. How can you say our healthcare system is completely equal when we don't have dental coverage or drug coverage? And I think that's a big problem. And as well, we're the party that pioneered public Medicare in Canada, and we're there to protect it in ways that the Liberals have failed, and that Stephen Harper has not delivered on his wait time guarantees promise. It's abysmal, not only for us, but people who are the baby boom generation that's aging right now.
Are you planning to vote in the upcoming federal election?
Definitely, yeah.
All right, and what's your biggest campaign issue this time around?
Well, it'd be nice if some of the candidates were dealing tuition, but probably the environment, so it's a hot button issue.
Green, obviously, you've got a pretty comprehensive environment platform. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Well, it's not just about being a one-issue party and just focusing on the environment. It's focusing about how the environment has to deal with everything. I mean, like I was trying to bring up in the debate, your health is affected by your environment. Your income, the economics aspect is all, like, everything in politics is affected by environment in some way or another. And so there's a number of policies in which we're trying to help on most sides. I mean, for secondary student issues, we wanted to foster help with research grants. So you've got research grants in schools. I mean, Queen's is a research-based university, so you'd have the science department researching a new green technology, and so that's something that it's fostering different things in our country for a benefit of the environment.
I think one of the biggest issues overall for not only Kingston but Canada as a whole, and what he's a proponent of, is Stéphane Dion's plan for the environment and for tax breaks for low-income Canadians, and for incentives for Canada to be a green producer of energy and conservation. So hopefully Canadians will, and I believe the Canadians will be receptive to that, and Kingstonians as well.
For our domestic policy, the Conservatives have a realistic and attainable environmental policy in the first place. Stephen Harper has promised to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 20% by 2020. Further than that, Stephen Harper is working through the United Nations with the international community, and I believe the goal currently is they want to reduce world greenhouse gas emissions by 50% by 2050. Not only that, the Conservatives have many great initiatives. For instance, in British Columbia, they want to introduce or create or support a hydrogen highway, Canada's first hydrogen highway. So cars that run on hydrogen, totally environmentally friendly, now have an infrastructure supporting that and starting to create a niche for that market. So there's tons of initiatives, and the Conservatives are working very hard, and they understand that. I mean, that's one of every Canadian's top 3 priorities right now, the environment.
Are you planning to vote in the upcoming federal election?
Of course, absolutely.
All right, and what's your biggest kind of campaign issue this year?
For me, it's definitely the carbon tax. I'm from British Columbia, and if I just don't want to see a double carbon tax, meaning we don't want to get taxed twice, because we're the only province right now that has a carbon tax under the Liberal government. So I'm a touch worried that we're going to get hit twice if you vote Liberal, but again, the issues, for me at least, are much better for the Liberals than they are for the Conservatives.